Okay, what I've got here is tongue and groove spruce, very dry, locally grown, locally milled, locally planed, and these are pretty much, they're 8" by 3/4, so 200 mil by 20 mil, planed down to 15 mil, so they're 15 mil boards. And now will they work? Okay, usually we would do 6 inches for the pots. I want to test it with 8 inches. I've used them in my lodge and they've opened up a little bit. Now sauna is, I mean, there's no gaps and it looks fine. Sauna is a funny little environment where it gets really hot and can get quite moist. So it'll be interesting to see what this sort of cladding does, because the last sauna I built for Willem, we've used very expensive heat treated aspen, and even with that you get a bit of movement. Now they use spruce in saunas. It's one of the most popular woods actually. Some of it is kiln dried, some of it is even heat treated. This has been air dried for over a year now, so if I've got any concerns, it's only that it will open up and it will want, well, and then I'll struggle to, and I'll get those gaps. That's my main concern. So that's what I'm trying to test here with this sauna build. Now, when the boards are narrower, there's less shrinkage. Now these boards probably done their shrinkage already, most of it. I mean, this one's 18, so they're usually 18.5 to 18 mil. So again, this is a damp field, so in the winter this will probably be damp in here as well. There'll be a bit of moisture. So it's important to realize what's happening to the timber. So usually you leave those gaps between them. I'm going to try, because what happens, there's not that much tongue on this. On other cladding, most of the cladding is narrower and the tongue is quite a lot bigger, so that eliminates that issue of shrinkage, opening the boards, opening up and showing the gaps, and so that's why we don't want. This is something that we can hopefully eliminate later on with getting different cutters. So if we're going to be doing more saunas, we're probably going to do narrower boards, longer tongue, and then that will leave us more room for that wood movement. Okay, in this case what I'm going to do, there will be gaps anyway, because these boards are, they're not perfect and they're quite dry, so I might have a hard time trying to get them together. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a go. So so the two ways I'm gonna do it. On this wall I'm going to go like that, vertically. On the side walls I'm going to go horizontally. Now again, this is quite a wide board for that radius. It would be better with a smaller one, but hey ho, this is what I've got, and that's what I have to make do with. I've got a little bit of thermo aspen, which I might just, I don't know if I've got enough of that to do all of it, so I might just use the thermo aspen at the top. Is brown, and the plan with them is actually to stain them with the same product as I stain the floor. So and it's partly because I want different color, but secondly because these boards are actually quite, some of them when you see are quite dirty. They've got, when they were milled, when they're stacked, there's quite a bit of moisture, and there's yeah, you'll see they've got some stains on them and stuff. So I don't want them, I don't want to be sanding them, I don't want to be doing all that. So I'm gonna stain them. I'm gonna stain them once instead of staining the boards, because what might happen is they might go on or might not go on. So I'm not gonna stain them and cut them and put them on, because it'll be wasting the stuff. Because these, some of them will go on, some of them will not go on, and I'll have to be doing that. What I will do is, after I put one on, I'm just gonna stain that tongue and possibly bits of groove on the other board. Why? Just because, yeah, when they close and we paint them and then they open, there'll be little gaps, so that I don't want them. Okay, first thing, you might be thinking, how do we get that piece in the corner? Okay, there's this easy way of doing it, and there's a slightly more difficult way of doing it. I'll show you the easy way. Get a board when the Tyvek is not on yet. You get that board level, and then you put it on the edge like that. So you imagine there's no Tyvek, you put it right on the edge, you put it, make it so it's plumb with your florist level, make that being plumb, because that's what we're going to be working off. And then you scribe it on the back against the rib, and that's your line. So that's what it's handy to do before you put your Tyvek on. If you made it so far and haven't done that, well, there's another way. That's slightly more complicated, but you can still get that radius more or less. It doesn't have to be perfect, remember, because this will be covered. This will be covered by a rib, so it doesn't really matter. As long as you don't come past that rib, you'll be fine. So if you haven't done that and you want to do it, take a board, make it maybe shorter, well, similar to that one. Make sure it's plumb. Okay, so if you're basing everything on that, what you want to do is, so ideally you want a board that would finish, for example, like that height. It would go somewhere there. I'm not going to do it just now, but then what you want to do is get that distance from, so for example, width of that, transfer it to that. Where do you want it to finish? Okay. Actually, you're starting from the widest point, so that will be your widest point, and then all you have to do is line up your rib. So you need to grab a rib. I haven't got a rib with me because I've used them up. I need to cut a few more, but then once you get that, so this in the widest point, this is my widest point, somewhere here probably, like you can see on that one. Yeah, let's just move that. It's not very well explained because I haven't got the rib. So if you find your widest point, well, in this case, yeah, it'll be somewhere there, and then you put your rib and make sure that the rib is the same distance over there and at the floor level, and then you can just scribe it off that rib roughly, and it'll be pretty accurate then. So imagine there is a rib there, just placing it like, I can't really show it because I haven't got that rib. I might show you some other type. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I might actually do it just of this. I'm going to cut that shape because that will be my template I can use on 1, 2, 3, 4 different walls. So I'm going to cut that with a jigsaw and then transfer it on this piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I know that this should be pretty much my height, so 123 centimeters, 123, that was the maximum I could get. It might be even shorter than that, because I'm going to have to lift it off the floor by 10 now. That's why I've got the packers. Right, cut that, draw it on this, and off we go, and see how it goes. Okay, so this should be the first board. You'll probably need to adjust things slightly. I'm starting from the left, so leaving the tongue to your right, to my right, and then we'll be bashing them like this and nailing them. Anything else? No. You can see the spots. Yeah, on the cladding. Doesn't bother me. I'll stain them. But yeah. Come on, let's give it a go. Alright, let's have a look. How does that fit? That's it. That's all you want. Okay. Okay, drop it down a bit. Okay, 10 mil off the floor. Plumb. Oh, what's the issue? Yeah, the issue is the spirit level's too large, too long. let's put the, what's going on here? Okay. Level. That will pretty much work. That's good. Nice spot on there, 10 mil off the floor. Right. You guessed it. I've got it spot on. I can't fasten it because I haven't got the fasteners. Or do I? I could use an elbow here. Let's do it. Okay, two. Wow. Okay. That's spot on. Let me just show you on. So first one is on. What I wanted to do is go halfway, so there'll be still a little gap for the air to come around, and then my rib is gonna go afterwards on top of that all the way down there, like this, with a little gap, so the air can circulate. Another trick or secret of the trade, so I'm nailing them in the couple there, and that's sufficient. So we're lifting them 10 mil off the ground for the air to circulate behind it and keep it dry. What I will do as well is, because you're not gonna see them and not gonna see them because that will be covered, I'm going to screw it there. I don't have enough. Well, no, I can't screw it there, but just a couple of those. Why will I screw it? Just because that will help me. I'll be bashing it in a second, and these nails will not hold it very well. Yeah, so if I put one or two even screws there and there, that will help drastically from it to move it. So that's the plan. Let's do it next. Let's just put this. So let's do it. Let's put some screws in them. Okay, so if you have a board, this has not happened to me before, today. I was gonna praise those boards because there's no issue whatsoever. Now, this is what sometimes happens. You get bashed. Well, the board actually is slightly bent. So, when you get it in, it doesn't want to go the other side, at the other end. So you need to be pushing it against, and then you can get it at the bottom, and then when you get into the top, it jumps back at the bottom. So in that case, I've had it on both ends. I'm happy to, well, persist with that board. And so we're gonna start at the bottom, nail it at the bottom, so it shouldn't come down there. It can't come off it at the bottom. Let's do it. We can actually nail it as we go. See, it's bounced, it's bent like that. Not bent, what's the word? Not warped, cupped, not cupped. Yeah, it's just bowed or bent. Like that. Okay, it's on dead. Oh, let's try it here again. That's it, in. And it stayed there. Okay. Ow. Right, let's carry on with this.